2! You didn't stay there long enough. Good morning, everybody! Daddy Dex here. I just wanted to do a quick reminder to you guys about the Kaiba Photo of the Month contest! We are in the finals, and you still have 1 day left to vote in those finals. If you are interested in picking out one of the photos, we have definitely had a lot of votes so far, and it's been awesome. But I would love to see a push at the end as well, if at all possible. So if you voted once, by all means, come back and vote again. If not, this is your final day to do so. And also, this is the final day where you can sign up for the Patreon and still be included in the Photo of the Month contest draw. Because right now we only have 2 members. And so if you are interested in potentially winning a free copy of the photo signed by Kaiba and myself, then you need to sign up by the end of the day today. I will be announcing the winners tomorrow, hopefully before work. If not, it will definitely be posted immediately after work. But it depends on how quickly I can get everything organized in the morning. That said, I think that's all I've got for you guys. So I'm also putting this at the front of a card game video. So please enjoy that if you're watching this before that. And otherwise, oh, I almost forgot. And I will be trying to put out the park trip video on Thursday because I want to make sure that the final reveal from the Photo of the Month contest gets a lot of attention, so I don't want to put out extra videos, particularly on TikTok, and dilute the response so everybody can see which photo won. Have a wonderful day. All right? Love you. Bye. You see the deck box, you know what we're here to do. It's time, hopefully, to finish this deck on this episode of 100. I have a very disturbed and distraught pup over here. He is upset because the heat is too much, and I told him we're not allowed to go for his WALK, and he's really not happy about it. This is actually my 3rd attempt to try and film this because he kept disrupting me to play since he felt it was unfair that I wasn't giving him the attention when it was time. You'll see that in another episode of Kaiba the Stubborn Pug. Probably in 2 or 3 months, because I just put out the recent episode and the next one is already planned. But it'll be out sooner than later, eventually. Before the end of the year, for sure. In the meantime, though, I don't want to waste too much time because this is going to be a very long episode, I think. So make sure you guys have a snack and a drink because we're going to try and get through this deck. That is the goal. I want to finish this deck off before the end of this episode. Mainly for two reasons. One, I really want to get to the new deck for August. Not that I'm not interested in this deck. This is a very interesting deck for sure. And I am enjoying building it as a single set deck. I've decided I'm probably not going to use the Door to Nothingness. I have it still in the pile, but I'm feeling like I really want to do an in-set deck for the first time ever. I've never built a whole one-set deck before. So it's kind of very much leaning towards that I'm probably not going to include the Door of Nothingness, or to Nothingness. At least in the initial build. I may later on upgrade this deck, and when I do, Door to Nothingness might go in. Some stuff that makes Marina tap and untap might go in. But for now, I really want it to be what it is meant to be. So, yeah. And the other reason is I want to start the next deck that was the first reason is, like I say, I want to start the next deck because it was supposed to be like a winter is coming theme when it was really, really hot, and right now it is bloody freaking hot. So I feel like thinking about winter is something we might all want to do at this point. Except for the few crazy people who are actually enjoying the heat. And if you're one of those people, all the power to you. I'm glad you're enjoying your weather. Just let me enjoy my winter when it comes and don't complain too much at me. Because I'm not complaining at you, I'm just wishing it would be different. And the other reason I want to get this deck done now, per se, is because I've been thinking about the heat being what it is, and I don't want to be sitting in my car trying to do this. And since my dad is at a wedding today, which I mentioned in Super Deck Sunday, I would really like to get this done. So, our current deck total sits at 82. I'm just going to flip through this super quick. You've probably seen all these before if you've watched any of the other episodes. If you haven't, I suggest you go back and check them out. But we have a total of 82 cards so far, including 37 lands, 19 rooms, which ends up being 38 if you count them as a double each. Our commander, 5 cards with Eerie, which are coming up, or 4 creatures with Eerie, which I must have scooted past already. They must have been after the rooms. Yes, okay. 4 creatures with Eerie, 1 creature that likes to do the same thing Marina likes to do whenever it deals combat damage. And then we picked out last time 20 instant and sorcery cards to give this deck a little bit of interaction so that it can kind of protect itself, since the only real win con in this deck currently is to try and trigger the one room that says if you have 8 or more rooms unlocked with different names at the beginning of your upkeep, you win the game. Which I believe is Stairway to something or another. Promising Stairs. Or no. Nope, that's not the right one. Well, I thought it was Promising Stairs. Maybe it is Promising Stairs and I just flipped too fast. Yeah, I just apparently read too fast and only read the first part. Promising Stairs is what I meant. Yeah. So currently this is the only way for this deck to win, beyond trying to win by combat damage, essentially. There's no real, powerhouse instant or sorcery that's going to deal, a massive amount of damage. Door to Nothingness was going to be the alternate win con, and like I say, I still have it included in here. So here's how I'm going to do this. I'm going to put the deck currently as it is up here. These are all the creatures. Last time I decided I'm going to, and I'm sticking with that decision, I'm going to pick out a minimum of 15 of these, which means I can only have a maximum of 3 of these. But what I thought about over the time that I've been off is, instead of picking 3 of these for sure, I'm going to go through this super quick, and we're going to pick out the things that might be worth including, and the things that are definitely not worth including. And the things that might be worth including are going to go into a pile, and some of the extra creatures that just don't make the cut are going to go into that pile as well. And we'll pick from that pile 3 extra cards. So, Let's go through this together super quick and see what we like and don't like. Haunted Screen is kind of neat. It counts as a mana dork that it is a little expensive to get it on the field, but I mean, you can tap it for white or black anytime, or you can pay in a life and tap it for any of the other 3 colors, which is pretty solid. Also, you can pay 7 to put 7+1+ encounters on it and turn it into a creature. And you only get to do that one time, but it's still kind of neat. Downside is the creature doesn't have flying, so I'm kind of like iffy on that one. But I will include it as a maybe because we might want the extra mana. I mentioned this one before. It is one of the only other ones that will do something with the rooms that we have. So if we pay 3 and tap and sacrifice this, we can lock or unlock a door of target room we control. In a pinch, this could be helpful. So I think that is worth keeping it as a maybe. Glimmerlight. When it enters, you get to make a 1/1 white glimmer enchantment creature token. The equipped creature gets +1/+1, and it only costs 1 to equip, but I don't think we're going to be really needing this per se as an equipment. I think that might be better for a different deck, so I'm going to turn that one down. Conductive Machete. Costs 4 to put into play and 4 to equip. That's a lot. When it enters Manifest Dread, we don't want to do any Manifesting Dread. We decided that last time we were here, so we're definitely going to turn that down. Glimmerlight had a better chance of getting in than that. You may look at face-down creatures your opponents control any time. Pay 2, sacrifice this thing, surveil 2, then draw a card. I'm more inclined to actually put Glimmerlight back into the maybe pile, the more I look through these. 1 and 2 white for a vehicle. Flying. When it enters, exile up to 1 target creature with toughness 5 or less. When it leaves the battlefield, its owner manifests dread. Crew 1. No. Sheltered by Ghosts. Now, this is one of those ones that I'm pretty tempted to probably include, though. Chain creature you control. When this thing enters, exile target non-land impermanent and opponent controls until this thing leaves the battlefield. The enchanted creature gets +1/+0, has lifelink and ward 2. That is pretty extensive. As a bunch of, buffs that you would get. Plus, you get to remove something from the board. The only thing is, this is therefore a massive target for the person who you remove their piece from, because they're definitely going to want to try and get rid of that to get it back out. I'm still going to put it in the maybe pile for now, though. Enchant creature you control. When this thing entered as long as this thing entered this turn, enchanted creature has hexproof, and enchanted creature gets +1/+1. I mean, that's not bad. That's a good way to save the commander just in case if she's being targeted by something. Trapped in the Screen, Ward 2. When this thing enters, exile target artifact creature or an enchantment and opponent controls until this thing leaves the battlefield. No, I'm good without that. We don't need more of those. Cursed Windbreaker. When this thing enters Manifest Dread, no thank you. I did like the idea of the flying, but I really don't want to Manifest Dread with this deck in case I accidentally put my Windcon face down. Enchanted creature loses all abilities and is a white artifact with 0/2. And as long as the enchanted creature is face down, it can't be turned face up. I'm okay without that one. Duskmourn's Domination. 4 and 2 blue. You control the enchanted creature. Enchanted creature gets -3/-0 and loses all abilities. But essentially, if you attach this to an opponent's creature, you get to take control of it. That said, losing all abilities kind of makes it kind of redundant to take it, doesn't it? Demonic Covenant. 4 and 2 black. Whenever one or more demons you control... we're not really playing a lot of demons in this deck, but at the beginning of your end step, create a 5/5 black demon creature token. With flying, then mill 2 cards. If 2 cards that share all their card types were milled this way, sacrifice this thing. I'm going to save that for another deck. Cracked Skull. Look at the top. Look at target player's hand. You may choose a non-land card from it. They have to discard it. I do like that. When an enchanted creature is dealt damage, destroy it. So essentially attach it to something your opponent controls. That might be worth considering. And you know what? I'm going to bring Glimmerlight back just because it is probably one of the better equipments we've seen out of this pile so far. Nowhere to Run. 1 and a black. When this thing enters, target creature gets -3/-3. It has to be an opponent's creature, but still. Creatures your opponents control can be the target of spells and abilities though they don't have hexproof. and ward doesn't a trigger for them. That's kind of nice. It's very specific. Not sure, but I'm going to leave it there for now. Leyline of Resonance, 2 and 2 red. If it's in your opening hand, you get to put it on the battlefield at the beginning of the game. When you cast an instant or sorcery that targets only one single creature you control, copy that spell. Okay, so here's where we're going to take a quick look at our instants and sorceries, because if that is worth considering, I might automatically include that almost. So how many things that I picked out target something I control? That one. That one. I mean, it could be someone else's creature, but if I target my own, then, you know. Probably not. Probably not. Probably not. No. That one? No. 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 Doesn't count. You wouldn't want to do that to your own creature. That one's not bad. No. You guess targets only a single creature you control. No, so then that one won't work. You know what? I don't think Resonance is going to be worth it. I think they'll be better off in a different deck. I have another deck that's going to definitely go well in. Frantic Strength. 2 and a green. Enchanted creature gets +2/+2 and has trample. So that could be worth considering. Threats around every corner. Manifest Dread. No, I don't want to do that. And like I said, I'm going to say no to this for now. Even... I'm still going to keep it there for as a maybe. But I'm really, really tempted to just do one full inset deck. I think that if I include that card, I'm always going to be slightly annoyed with myself because it's not a complete set deck. It's like my zombie deck. My zombie deck, as much as I love it, it is my how do I word it? Sealed only -2 cards. Everything I've put into that deck, I've pulled from a pack of some sort, even counting one of the pulls from a secret layer as a pack, technically. Except for 2 cards. And it's always going to bug me until I can actually get those 2 cards from a sealed product that I had to buy them as singles. But I don't want that to go on this deck's record, so the only way I'm including Door to Nothingness is if I feel like there's just no way this deck will win with anything other than that one enchantment. Because if that's the case, then we probably really do need an extra win con in here to help protect it, to be fair. Alright, so we did a decent job of eliminating stuff there. We're down to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 cards in the current 3 wildcard slot. So now we've got a whole ton of creatures to go through, and we're just going to go through them as quickly as we can. And we're going to go yes, maybe, no, and go from there. If it's a yes, it has to do something seriously good for this deck. Either it's going to do something with the rooms, it does something with enchantments, something like that. But I don't think there's many cards that do that beyond the ones I've already pulled. Whenever this thing attacks, you may have it get +4/+0 until end of turn. If you do, you sacrifice it at the beginning of your next end step. I'm going to say no. Flying. Put target card from a graveyard on the bottom of its owner's library. Activate only as a sorcery. I'm going to say yes, because that's a good way for us to get our win con back if it gets destroyed. That might be the only way we can get it back out of our deck. Friendly Teddy dies, each player draws a card. That can go as a maybe. Oh, there was another eerie one. Or did I already have that white one in there? Is that a double? That might be a double. Let me check. No. That one was not in there. Okay. Why was that one not in there? What do you do? Whenever an enchantment enters and whenever you fully unlock a room, this thing gets lifelink until end of turn. Ah, that's why. You know what? I'm still going to include that as a maybe, but I'm not going to say yes to it right away. Discard a card, put 3/1/1 +1/+1 counters on this thing, and it becomes a black demon in addition to its other colors and types. There are a couple cards in here that care about demons, but not enough that that's worth it. And I kind of want to build something with goats eventually, possibly. Enduring Innocence. 1 and 2 white, lifelink. Whenever one or more other creatures you control with power 2 or less enter, draw a card. Whenever this thing dies, if it was a creature returned to the battlefield under its owner's control, it's an enchantment. I'm going to say no. I don't think there's enough stuff in this deck that that's going to be worth doing that. We'll put it as a maybe. When Living Phone dies, look at the top 5 cards of your library. You can reveal a creature with power 2 or less from among them, put it into your hand. That one I'm going to definitely say no to. That doesn't feel like it's worth it. At the beginning of your second main phase, if this thing is tapped, draw a card if you control a Glimmer creature. If you don't, create a 1/1 white Glimmer enchantment creature token. That could be interesting as a maybe. I was tempted to do this, actually. I was thinking about putting in a whole bunch of the fear cards. So let's see what they do. Fear mobility enters, tap up to 1 target creature. If an opponent's creature was tapped this way, you get to put a stun counter on it. It costs 5 to put into play, though. But I mean, we'll leave it as a maybe for now. When these guys enter Manifest Dread, we don't want to do Manifesting Dread, so that's out. Whenever Orphans of the Wheat attacks, tap any number of untapped creatures you control, and this thing gets +1/+1 until end of turn for each creature tapped this way. No. At the beginning of your second main phase, if this thing is tapped, return target creature card with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard to your hand. That's definitely worth considering, at least. Beginning of your second main phase, if this thing is tapped, put a flying lifelink or +1/+1 counter on it. Whenever this and another creature you control dies, if it had counters on it, put those counters on up to 1 other target creature. That one is tempting, but I think it would be better in a different deck. Flying and plane cycling, I'm going to say no to. Ooh, Verge Rangers. Is that really the same set? I don't think it's the same set. No, that can't be the same set. I must have pulled that from a different set by accident. Looking at the set symbols, though, there's no way, unless that's a card from one of the, No, that's definitely not the same set. That accidentally got in by mistake. I thought that it was maybe from like one of the precons possibly, but I think the precons would have all had the same set symbol probably. I'm going to check that later though. When this thing enters, target creature gets +2/+4 until end of turn. No. When this thing attacks, another target creature you control gets +1/+0 and indestructible until end of turn. That could be worth maybe considering. But then this thing's really easy as something to eliminate, per se. What's its mana value? 3? Okay, we'll put it as a maybe. Because it can be targeted by some of the other stuff that we've got. Cheerleader. At the beginning of your second main phase, if she is tapped, put a flying counter on her. No, thank you. Taps to add blue. Only use this to cast an enchantment spell, unlock a door, or turn a permanent face up. I kind of like that. That might be very helpful as a mana dork. We'll put that as a maybe, though, for now. Actually, you know what? It only costs 1. How much to put into play? 1 in a blue. Okay, you know what? Yeah, we will leave it as a maybe for now. Whenever a room gets fully unlocked or an enchantment enters, this thing gets +1/+1 until end of turn. Yeah. If it got a counter, I would say yes, but I don't think that's worth it. Island cycling and vigilance, no thank you. Fear of imposters, flash. When this thing enters, counter target spell, its controller manifests dread. We might need that as an extra counter spell, so I don't like the manifesting dread for them. any more than I like it for myself in this deck, but when this thing attacks, another target attacking creature can't be blocked this turn. That might be worth considering too. When this thing enters, create a 1/1 Glimmer enchantment creature token. I'm going to say no. Flying, but it enters tapped? No, thank you. Additional cost to cast this, you have to return a permanent you control to its owner's hand, and it's a flying 2/3 for 1 and a blue. I have a feeling that's going to be a no, but I'll keep it as a maybe for now. There may be some of the rooms that might be beneficial to pull it back in my hand for some reason. When this thing attacks, target creature defending player controls gets -2/-0 and loses flying. No thanks. Sacrifice a creature or an enchantment. It's a flying trample 6/5 demon for 7. When it enters, each opponent sacrifices a non-token enchantment, then sacrifices a non-token creature. Maybe. Fear of Lost Teeth. When it dies, it deals 1 damage to any target and you gain 1 life. I'm going to say no. Sacrifice this thing, return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. I'm going to say no. I don't think there's a lot of creatures I would want to return besides Marina and the ones that have Eerie. Okay, we'll put it as a maybe for now just because of that, but I don't think that that's going to make it. Each player discards a card. If you discard a card this way, draw a card. No. When this thing attacks, surveil one. I don't like surveilling as much as I like scrying, to be honest. Being in step, if there are 4 more card types among cards in your graveyard, each opponent may sacrifice a non-land permanent or discard a card. Then this thing deals damage equal to its power to each opponent who didn't sacrifice a permanent or discard a card this way. That could be fun to throw in. Cynical Loner can't be blocked by glimmers. If this thing is tapped at the beginning of the second main phase, you can search your library for a card, put it into your graveyard, and shuffle. No thank you. Innocuous Rat. When this thing dies, manifest dread. We don't want to do that in this deck. Return Resurrected Cultist from your graveyard to the battlefield with finality counter on it. No thank you. Their Fear Dark attacks. If defending player controls no Glimmer creatures, this thing gets Menace and Death Touch until end turn. That's kind of neat. It's a little expensive to get into play, but neat ability. War, discard a card. Swamp Cycling 2, 6/5. I'm going to say probably no. Death Touch, this thing enters with a +1/+1 counter on it if a creature died this turn. Costs a lot to put into play though, so probably not going to go... Yeah, I'll make it as a maybe. Because right now we only have one that's a definite yes. So this maybe pile is getting pretty big. But so is our no pile. Our no pile is going pretty sizable, so I'm happy with that as a good start. +3/+0 as long as there are 2 or more unlocked doors among rooms you control. So it becomes a 4/4 for 2 in a red. Yeah, I'll put it as a maybe. Menace, Mountain Cycling. I'm really not fond of these cycling ones as much. Hand that feeds, 1 in a red. If there are 4 more card types among cards you control in your graveyard, it gets +2/+0 and Menace when it attacks. No thanks. No thanks. I'm not sacrificing any lands in this one. Pay 1, tap. Target creature with power 2 or less can't be blocked this turn. Okay, that could actually be really worthwhile including, because the one creature that does deal damage that will help us... Oh, it's a 3/3. Crud. I thought it was a 1/3. That will not work so well then. I'm still going to keep it there as a maybe, but probably not going to make the cut. Irreverent Gremlin, Menace. Whenever another creature you control with power 2 or less enters, you may discard a card. If you do, draw a card. I mean, it might be not a bad idea to lean into that. We might have to go back through this pile and just see if there's any extra ones that do that nonsense. Living Phone might be a good one to include. Might be the only other one that we need to actually put back over here. Maybe that one. Sorry. I'm just looking through the old pile and seeing if there are any ones that are like really stepping out as like, hey, this is a thing that works really well if you have power 2 or less. Alright, I'm going to add these two to the pile. I'm going to put back in this one because of the flying vigilance, and this one because of the ability. So, I'm just going to put them where they belong with their colors, per se. And we will go from there. Alright. Continuing on. When it enters, you may sacrifice another creature or enchantment. When you do, this thing deals 2 damage to any target. No, thank you. Diversion Specialist. Sacrifice another creature or enchantment, exile the top card of your library. You can play that card this turn. Yeah, no thank you. When this thing enters, it deals 4 damage to each opponent. Whenever a source you control deals non-combat damage to an opponent, if there are 4 more card types among cards in your graveyard, this thing deals that amount of damage to target creature that player controls. Interesting. That could be fun to play with. Haste, when this thing... Oh, it has to be blocked if able? No, thank you. Whenever another creature you control with power 2 or less enters, this thing gets +2/+0 until end of turn. So again, if we're going to lean into that. When this thing dies, exile the top card of your library. You can play it until your next turn. No, thank you. There is a solid mana dork. Except for the whole, it only adds 2 if you're going to turn something face up, but I'm not planning to do that, but I'll still include it as a possible mana dork. When it enters, search your library for basically and reveal, put into your hand, then shuffle. It has +1/+2 and vigilance as long as there are 4 more target types. No, thank you. It's 2 in a green. You know what? I'm going to actually say yes. It might be helpful. Dies, Manifest Dread. We don't want to do that. Beginning your thing. If this is tapped, reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal a land. Put it into your hand. Maybe. When it dies or enters, surveil one. Remember, this thing attacks if there are 4 more card types. Look at the top card of your library. If it's a land, you can put it onto the battlefield. If you don't, put that card in the battlefield. Put it into your hand. Yeah, okay. Beginning your second main phase, if this thing is tapped, you gain 2 life. Probably not going to use that. It's a little expensive to get in. Enters, you may discard a card or pay 2. When you do, destroy target room. I don't want to destroy my own rooms necessarily. When it dies, you gain 2 life. Yeah, no thank you. We're not manifesting dread. Tap 2 untapped creatures and or lands you control. I'm good without that one too, I think. Can't be countered. Trample haste. Return this thing from your graveyard to the battlefield with a finality counter on it, but only if there are 4 more things in your graveyard. Oh, I did not mean to knock you guys over. My back is starting to get sore. I leaned back and my leg kicked over the camera. Sorry. I kind of like it more so than anything else for the flavor, so I'm going to leave it in there now as a maybe. That one is a no. At the beginning of your main phase, if this thing is tapped, put 3+1 counters on up to 1 target land you control. That land becomes an elemental creature in addition to... I mean, that's kind of cool, but that's going to work better in a deck that actually wants to do that kind of stuff, so I'm going to save that for my next land earthbending deck, probably. Wildfire Wicker Folk. Gets +1/+1, has trample as long as there are 4 or more card types among cards in your graveyard. Yeah, that one's kind of worth it, though, because it's so cheap to get into play. Beginning your end step, you may draw a card. If you do, discard a card unless a permanent enters the battlefield face down under your control this turn, or you turn a permanent face up this turn. I mean, it'll be a helpful way to get through some stuff. Legendaries now. At the beginning of your upkeep, each player draws 2 cards, or 2.
As long as there are 4 more card types among cards in your graveyard, each opponent's maximum hand size. I mean, that one's fun and really cruel. But I kind of think there's a better deck that I own right now that I'm starting to work on that might like it more. I'll leave it as a maybe, but I don't think it's going to make the cut. This is definitely not making the cut. It only works with ninjas, so I'm really surprised that one's in that set, to be honest. Marvin, Murderous Mimic, has all the activated abilities of creatures you control that don't have the same name as this creature. Marvin definitely is going in, because Marvin can act as a second copy of Marina then. Norn, Swift Survivalist, can't block. Whenever a creature you control becomes blocked, you may exile it. You may play that card from exile this turn. Ooh. I'm still tempted to make a mono red deck actually using this as a commander. I think that might be fun. But I haven't decided yet for sure how I want to do that. Leave it as a maybe. If we're definitely leaning into the 2-1 idea thing, then she should go in here, because whenever she attacks, she deals X damage equal to your each opponent, and you gain X life, where X is the number of creatures you control with power 2 or less. So, I mean, she almost has to go in. And then Vigilance and tap, sacrifice a room, and this thing deals 2 damage to each opponent, and you draw a card. I think that is kind of crazy. But I mean, in a worst case scenario, it might help us get out of something, so... Alright. Need to stretch out my legs. Give me a second. Actually, there was something I wanted to check. I'm just trying to remember what it was. What was it I wanted to go check upstairs? Super quick. This is garbage. Should not be on the floor. I'm going to put you guys on a pause for a minute while I think. Still unhappy. I know. Oh, baby. I went upstairs and did a quick check, and I am definitely going to put this into a different deck. I love the artwork on this. I love what it's doing. I think it would be really wicked, possibly, in this deck. Just because it might help me get to my rooms much faster. But I think that there's another deck that this might be better in later down the line, so I'm going to take that one out. I've also decided I am definitely not going to include this. I want to make this an in-set deck to start with. So this will be an entirely one-set-based deck. Therefore, the Door to Nothingness I'm going to take out. These two are definitely going in, which means our total is up to 84. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. 33 cards. Pardon my burp. 33 cards to get through still, and I want to pick 13 of these, so that's kind of sad. 3 more can go into the other pile, but after that we're kind of screwed. So, let's just go through this really quick and try and see what we can eliminate really easily. At the beginning of your end step, you may draw a card. If you do, discard a card unless a permanent you control was flip face down. I do not have anything that's flipping face up or entering face down in this deck, so probably not the most useful unless I want to be discarding a bunch of stuff, and I don't know if I do. Since I'm not heavily focusing on the Delirium, I'm going to put that as a maybe still. Like I say, I'm not focusing heavily on the Delirium, I'm not focusing on trying to get stuff in there. That said, this is still a 3-2 with haste for 2. I think it's pretty good to include. That one has trample and haste, but it's a lot. 5 mana to get into play. Granted, it can't be counter, which is nice, so you're getting a beefy boy that can't be knocked out. And it is so thematic that I almost think I have to include it. That said, these are all going against the strategy that we originally were thinking about. I'm going to put that one over there, actually. Wicker foe attacks if there are 4 more card types among cards. Okay, let's sort this. Let's go that way. These are all things that either have Delirium. Let's put all the Delirium ones in one pile. We'll put all the survival ones in one pile. Put all the random ones in one pile. And we'll put all the ones that will work well with the toy in one pile. Survival or delirium. Delirium. Because unless I can get the stuff into the graveyard, delirium just is not going to be worth it. Survival. Survival. I think that might be it for both those. Alright, so now things with power 2 or less can all go in one pile, and then anything with greater power can go in another pile. Since all the stuff with power 2 or less works with the doll lady, if we're going to focus on her as a main thing, which I'm kind of leaning towards doing so that we have some sort of backbone in this deck to at least fight with, because otherwise we're definitely going to get our butts kicked constantly. The eerie ones that we have left. This one gets lifelink and is a 3/3. I mean, that's not horrendous. Is it enough to keep it in? I think we'll put it over there maybe. That one, I'm going to say no to. That one I think we almost have to include because it's a counter spell. That one, do I want to really be sacrificing a creature in order to get something out of this? I'm going to say no. It's probably better decks for that one. If defending player controls no glimmers, I'm going to say no. And I'm going to say no. This is definitely going to go in because it's a counter spell, so it's an extra one for me. I just don't like the fact that I'm giving my opponent a 2/2, but it is what it is. I am getting a 3/2 at least out of it. So that puts me up to 85, which means I have 15 cards left. 12 from here and 3 from there. Alright, let's do this pile next. The survival ones, we have 3 of them that we're kind of considering. If this thing is tapped, draw a card you control a glimmer creature if you don't get to make a glimmer creature. I think that's not bad to include. It's a little expensive to get it into play, but not bad. If this thing is tapped, return card creature with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard to your hand. That's going to be a fantastic way to get back the doll, so that we have 2 triggers for our commander. That one I think we don't need. I think we can put that one away. Although, House Cartographer, it's kind of like he's very thematic. Ah, so good. We might keep all 3 of those in there. These ones I'm kind of tempted to drop. Because you have to have 4 card types in your graveyard for it to be worthwhile. Now, that one is a 2/2, so that one might be worth keeping. But this one is expensive for you to get its ability. So I think I'm going to take that one out. The Spine Seeker, yeah, I do like that you get a land search granted. But at the same time, no, I'm going to say no. That one's a 5/4. I'm going to say no. I kind of like the worm. I think the worm is very thematic. It goes with the cartographer, like, so we'll put that one there. And I do like the wicker folk. Even if you don't have what you need, you still get a... I mean, that one could almost go in my... Yeah, that could go in the deck that I'm thinking about putting the other one in, actually. Because like I say, I'm not going to try and get stuff into this one's graveyard. The other one that I'm thinking about has stuff going frequently enough that it would be worthwhile maybe putting it there. Alright, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hera. 6, potentially. I'm going to put that one in the maybe pile over here, actually. There. 5. We got 5 there. We can pick 7 out of here. I think we fake the doll. I say no to the sacrificing the room one. kind of want to keep that one for another deck unless I have a second copy upstairs. So I'm going to save that over here for now as a maybe. I'm going to say no to the teddy. I'm going to say no to the phone. Whenever one or more other creatures with power 2 or less enter, you get to draw a card. That one's kind of useful for this deck. That one's useful too. And that one. I mean, you get a nice blocker. That one. No. No. Maybe. Yeah, maybe. Okay. If it got something else, I would say sure, but otherwise, no. I'm going to say no. And I'm going to say no. All right. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That gives me 15 there, which means I'm actually at the max of the deck size, which isn't good. So, we're going to have to go through that pile and see. But first I have to know if I have another Norrin Swift Survivalist. I think I have another copy of it upstairs, but let's go check. I'll be right back.
Your Kaiba update is that he's now moved to the front door. Either hoping that my dad comes back, or hoping that I take him out. The rain looks like it's finally about to start, which is a positive thing. We might actually get it to cool down enough we can go if it stops in an hour or two. But in the meantime, let's finish this deck.
I do have 2 copies of this, but I'm thinking I might want to make a mono red deck out of this, and there's another deck that would use a copy of this really well, so I'm going to put that over. As much as it pains me to give up on that one, because it kind of looks cool, but I just see a better use for it elsewhere. With that said, we need to cut a couple more cards out of this pile too. Otherwise, we can't put anything from this pile in. So, right now we're at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 13, 14. Yeah. And I'm thinking there's only 14 cards potentially, plus maybe an extra 1 or 2. Unless there happen to be a few in here. That sheep might not be worth it. That's 1. Alright, these are all couldn't trigger it except for that one. So, to be fair, that might not be a terrible include. Because we can get at least a few card draws out of it probably each game. Whenever this thing attacks another creature you control, it gets +1/+0 and indestructible. I kind of like that because if I can give the doll a little extra power, that's not bad. Plus it protects it. That one, the extra mana could be useful. That said, if I had to pick between that one and this one only costs 1 extra mana, but it's a creature, so it's a lot easier to target than an artifact typically is. This one has a lot more versatility to it too. I think I kind of like this one over this one, so I'm going to turn that one down. That one's going to end up in the pile though, so still leaves us with 14. This one, I mean, the Eerie probably isn't going to, yeah, the Eerie actually probably will happen a lot more than you might think. You know what? We're going to leave that one. That one will help with letting Arabella do her thing. This one over here has to be a creature with power 2 or less, so I think I'll turn that one down, even though it is a doll and it looks like it goes really well with Arabella. Oh no, her power doesn't go up. She just deals the damage. Okay, never mind. That's actually a good one in here. I was misreading that. Keep that one. Whenever another creature with power 2 or less enters this thing, it's +2. We're going to turn that one down, I think. We don't need to give that one a power boost. Introducing me discard a card. If you do draw a card, you can only do that once per turn, but it works basically the same way as the sheep does. Except you have to actually discard a card. That's pretty good. If there are former card types, summon cards in your graveyard. This thing deals damage to people. Yeah, I kind of need some extra stuff. I'm going to say no to that one. Even though he really, really fits the flavor because he's the house cartographer. I just... Won't be able to get Marina back with that one, but I can pretty much get almost anything else out of this deck back. Except for that. That. And... that. That. I'm just seeing how many creatures I would not be able to help with that card. Each time it's tapped, it gets me to get something back with mana value 3 or less, provided it's a creature. Would let me get Marvin back. It won't let me get the Chandelier back, but the Chandelier I can get to do everything anyways, so it's a bonus one. Would let me get this back as an extra counterspell I could keep adding back to my hand too. Yeah, okay, I can see a good reason for that one. I like the cartographer. It's so good for that theme. What about you? Glimmer Seeker. Draw a card if you control a Glimmer creature. If you don't control a Glimmer creature, you get to make a 1/1. But you have to get this thing tapped to do it. That's the thing. You have to get that one tapped to do it. You have to get this one tapped to do it. You have to get this one tapped to do it, which means you have to attack with them. I don't really have anything that's going to give them boosts, and I don't have anything that's really going to protect them. So I think all three of these cards, as good as they are for this deck, the only one that might be worthwhile trying to keep in here is Survivor of the Small. Because I don't have a way to make sure that my stuff is going to not die a lot of the time. Yeah. But Survivor of the Small and Hardened Escort could actually, in theoretically, protect each other in a way. Because this one can give this one indestructible, and then this one, once it's tapped in main phase 2, can give me this one back to my hand, so I can recast it and use it again the next turn. It's an interesting little combo that might work, so I'll keep those two. So that puts me to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Oh, we're totally off count now. We might as well just put all those over there and count what we are at total. So 7, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40. I'm just wondering if my dad's home because the neighbor dogs are acting up. 41, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54,
9, 6, 6, 1, 6, 2, 6, 3, 6, 4, 6, 5, 6, 6, 6, 7, 6, 8, 6, 9, 7, 7, 1, 7, 2, 7, 3, 7, 4, 7, 5, 7, 6, 7, 7, 7, 8, 7, 9, A1, A2, A3, A4, A5, A6, A7, A8, A9, 90, 91, 92, 94, 95, 96. We can pick 4 more cards out of this pile, which contains 3, 6, 9 cards. Alright, let's do this. I think an extra creature couldn't hurt. I do like that it has haste. I do like that... Oh, it's a power level 3, though. But it is one that I can get back from the graveyard. But I mean, I can't do some of the other stuff with it, so... Why is she only power? Is she power or toughness, or is she just power? Deals damage, X damage to each opponent, and you gain X life, where X is the number of creatures you control with power 2 or less. Yeah, okay. In that case, I think the Scarecrow might not be worth, actually. There might be a better deck for it. That one gets lifelink, but again, probably not worth it. If I think the Scarecrow is probably worth it more than that one is. I kind of want the keys to the house. I feel like it has to go in there. I mean, if we're not going to include the house cartographer, at the very minimum, we have to include the keys to the house. So that's going in. Gives me 3 more options. And we're down to 6 cards. So, when this thing enters, exile target non-land permanent opponent controls until this thing leaves the battlefield. Enchanted creature gets +1/+0, has lifelink in War 2. I think we almost have to include that one. This one can protect my commander, but otherwise it's not really super useful, so I'm going to put that as a maybe. That one does give me an extra 1/1 on board. Probably not. Cracked Skull. You know what? This isn't the kind of deck that plays that way, so I'm going to say no to that one. I'm going to say Nowhere to Run can go away. I like Frantic Strength. I think that one's not a bad idea. Give something +2/+2 and trample. I might need the extra muscle in there. So those 2, yes. And then one of these 2. Or we bring back the Hasty Scarecrow. Let's see. Glimmerlight will give any of my things I equip it with +1/+1. It's going to give me an extra body when it comes into play. That one only gets the +1/+1 trample if there's 4 things in the graveyard. Yeah, I'm going to leave that over there. This one. Oh, such a good choice. Extra chance to protect my commander. Extra 1/1 on board. Or I just get rid of the Frantic Strength. You know what? Let's get rid of the Frantic Strength, actually. I think both of these might be the better options. So, there. Because, I mean, honestly, there's not a lot of things that I want to give a +2/+2 trample to, I don't think, in this deck, per se. Other than possibly... Because Marina, I'm not going to be using to swing at combat damage, really, at all, per se. She's not in there for that reason. The 5 creatures that back her up with the Eerie gives me a Gremlin. Costs people life. The other 2 are already moved somewhere else by accident. That one makes people mill. The other 2 are over here, among all the other mess. Not that one. That one. Whenever +2/+0, when it dies, it deals damage equal to power. I almost want to take that one out, actually. Put something else in, maybe. But it is meeting the power requirement, which is nice. Sorry. Hurts to keep bending over like that. That'd be the only other one I could see maybe giving the Frantic Strength to, because it'd be flying trample 5/5, which is kind of crazy. And would do the thing. But I don't know.
I think I'm going to leave it at this for now. Mainly because this video is going to be really long as is when I cut it together finally. If I end up changing my mind between now and next week's Super Deck Sunday, when this deck will get featured properly, and you'll see all the different combos and everything, and we'll go through it thoroughly. At that time, if anything changes, I will put the changes into that video. But for now, I think we've hit our 100 card mark. Yay! Another completed deck on 100! And for the first time ever, an entirely one set deck. Like I say, I am really tempted to put in Door to Nothingness instead of a couple of the cards that are currently in there, but for now, I really want this to be an entirely one set deck, and unfortunately, Door to Nothingness just does not have a copy in this set, surprisingly. I am going to double check that, and if it does have a copy in this set, then I would probably put this card in, even though I don't have the actual Duskmourn version, simply because it's part of the set. But I really don't think it was ever included in the set, unfortunately. Anywho, last check on Kaiba. And with that said, in the next episode that you see of this series, we will be starting our new deck with another commander. And probably just doing the land base. But in the meantime and between time, much love to you all from Kaiba the Pug, and myself to you. Take care. Thank you for following this series, and I hope that you've enjoyed this deck build. Love you all. Bye.